Hey there, we're back, and we're going to try to look at the ogive now and try to figure some things out about it. So let's look at the graph for just a second. When you look at an ogive, the important thing to realize is that what's used in the ogive for graphing purposes is the upper class limits. And that the first one, by the way, is bogus. So this is a bogus class. It doesn't really exist. They create it as the instructions are for an ogive. You have to have 0, 0, basic, well, not really 0, 0. It's the 0 of an upper class that doesn't really exist. So the upper class that would exist right below the one that you have that does exist. And then the 5 is the first one that does exist, and then 10, then 15, then 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and so on. Okay, but this one right here, you can just delete because it doesn't really happen. Okay, you have to start off the graph vertically with a frequency here, maybe this way, frequency or relative frequency as the case might be, which is what this one is. This one's a cumulative relative frequency. Cumulative relative frequency has to start at 0, and they make up a fake first class, upper class limit to go with that. So 0 would be it if there was a first class, but there isn't. And then you can see 5 has got, who knows, 0, 2, 2, 2. Has a cumulative frequency of like 0.002 or who knows, whatever. Okay, but we know about by the end we'll have a cumulative relative frequency of 1. Okay, now if those are the upper class limits, then the lower class limits kind of go hand in hand with that. So let me put those in, class limits. And I'm going to make these wider so you can see. Okay, so if this is the upper class limit here, or let's start with the 10. I think that's easier to see. If 10 is the upper class limit, and then what was the lower class limit that goes with it, right? So in keeping in mind, you have to be above the 5. So the next number above 5 would be 6, right? And then if 10 is the upper class limit, then the next class starts at 11. If 15 is the upper class limit of that, then the next class has to begin at 16, and so on. Now notice, how far apart are these? They're 5 apart, right? Because 6 to 11 is 5, 11 to 16 is 5. Guess what the class width is? Right? The class width is 5 because that's how far apart all this stuff is. Like these are 5 apart, 0 to 5, 5 apart, 5 to 10, 5 apart, 10 to 15 is 5 apart, and so on. So these are all going to be 5 apart. So 21, 26, 31, 36, 41. Okay? Down here, 5 lower than this would be 1. And you don't have to worry about this class at all because this class doesn't really exist. Okay, so the first class is technically 1 to 5. Next class is 6 to 10. Okay, all right, I hope that helps with finding that. Now, if you wanted the midpoint, just for the fun of it, if you want the midpoint would be equal to 1 plus 6 divided by 2. You take lower class limits, add them up and divide by 2. Then you do it again. Lower class limits, add them up and divide by 2. Or keeping in mind that all lower class limits have to be 5 higher. It's just 5 more than the last one. Oopsie. Right? So if 3.5 is the first lower class limit, the next one has to be 5 greater than that. And the next one's 5 greater than that, and so on, all the way through. All right, I hope that helps with trying to read those ogive graphs. See you later.